All right. The room is hopping right now. Sweet. We've got like 600 people here. You guys are hyped up for Lord of the Rings on Prime. I got to tell you, so for those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, you might not know this, but I'm a huge Chicago Cubs fan, and it's been a rough week. So I'm representing my Cubs gear in in recognition of the rough week we've had. But today is a good day. This helps for sure. So we've got a brand new image. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here. We've got a brand new image from Lord of the Rings on Prime. There it is in all its splendor. I love that it immediately gives you the feeling of Middle Earth. I feel like they really matched this well with what we've seen. Yeah, I just look at this image and I think, yep, that checks out. That's Middle Earth. So this might be kind of a quick stream. I'm really amped up about this. I was actually driving when I saw the tweet and tried not to run off the road. I initially didn't notice a lot of detail in this because I was driving and trying not to wreck my car. So we're just going to go through this. I'm going to kind of give you a couple of my thoughts on what we're seeing in this. Feel free to comment with any of your thoughts, any of your predictions, what this means. So first off, if you've seen this online, you've probably had a lot of people commenting on this area right here. That is the two trees of Valinor. That's right. Right there. The two trees. I've got an image here. An image by an artist, Helen Kai. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But there's kind of an image of the two trees that is popular. You've probably seen if you've watched some of my videos that take place during the first age or prior to the first age. So that's definitely the two trees. So those are what give light to the world prior to the sun and moon. So without going too deep here, I mean, I could spend the next hour going through lore and stuff like that. But basically, so these are the two trees. They come after the time of the two lamps, and they give light to the world. And then Morgoth destroys them with the help of Shelob's mother, Ungoliant. And then after that, the Valar use the remains of the two trees to create the sun and the moon. So that's what those are. So that immediately gives us a timeline for this picture. That puts this prior to the first age. No, the two trees were before Ungoliant. I'm seeing some questions. They were before Ungoliant. Ungoliant is the one who destroys them. Yes. I'm going to try to keep an eye on comments and stuff. Yes, this is a great choice of an image to build enthusiasm for sure. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people Googling two trees when they see all the comments. So yeah, the big question after that. So first of all, that establishes this comes prior to the first age, which we know the show itself takes place in the second age. So this, my guess is that this is a prologue of some sort. This is probably how the show will open. Something to do with this image, or this image will be part of a prologue. Second question, naturally, is who's this person right here? Yeah. Who's that lady? The show airs. Oh, we've got the answer right here. September 2nd, 2022. So you've got 13 months to get hyped about this. So maybe we'll get, we'll obviously get stuff between now and then. Gosh, that probably means we're not getting a trailer until early 2022, though. Who knows? We'll get some images maybe. All right. So as far as this image goes here and this person, I've heard some some predictions. Initially, some people thought this might be Numenor. Numenor comes well after the two trees are destroyed, so it's not Numenor. Um, I've heard some other predictions that this might be Erendil, which is Elrond and Elros's father. I think we can also disprove that because he doesn't come around until after the two trees as well. Um, this is a much larger question. Flailing Melon, did anything of note happen in the Second Age? Yes, definitely. Just off the top of my head, the Rings of Power are created. Numenor is raised from the sea. Elrond chooses to be an elf. His brother Elros chooses to become a king of man. The fall of Numenor. Numenor gets corrupted by Sauron. There's a whole war. I'm going out of order here, but there's a whole war between the elves and Sauron in Eriador. There's the fall of Numenor, and then the men, which you'll remember from Lord of the Rings, would include Isildur and his brother or his father Elendil. They survive the fall of Numenor and come to Middle Earth and establish Gondor and Arnor. And then Second Age is also when Sauron's defeated in the War of the Last Alliance. So all that to say, that was a really roundabout way of saying yes, things of note happened in the Second Age. So getting back to this person here, I'm going to go with Galadriel here. That is my prediction. Like I said, Arendil, there was some, let me see here. Here's a piece of artwork from Ted Naismith. So I think this kind of gives us, you look at the similarities. I'm going to go back and forth, kind of A-B it here for you. Look at the similarities between these cities. These seem awfully similar. Now, we know for a fact Ted Naismith himself said that he is not working on the show. He's not part of the show. Maybe they took some inspiration. There's enough difference here that, maybe it was just like inspired by, or yeah, it's obviously not a direct adaptation of Ted Naismith's work, I don't think. But there's definitely some similarities here. And I think if you go back and look at the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit films, there's definitely has some similar feel to like a Rivendell type place, which you would imagine those places would be inspired by the land where so many elves spent a lot of their time, which was in Valinor. So going back to this person here, sorry, I'm jumping around because I'm so amped up right now. So this person, I'm fairly certain is Galadriel. Why? Because the two trees are still there. I think the two trees being there tells us, obviously, this comes before the First Age. So that really cuts down the other possibilities. That rules out a lot of people who don't show up until the First Age. Galadriel, I feel like I've kind of long thought that they would use her as a connecting point between the films. It's a familiar character. Her prologue in Lord of the Rings, her narration of the prologue, is one of the most iconic parts of that series. Is the prologue? It's just so good and so gripping. I'd be really curious to see. I could see this being a part of Galadriel's narration of what happened before the start of the Second Age, where this show takes place. So my thought is maybe this is part of a prologue where Galadriel's narrating and we're seeing her within these different locations and events and stuff like that. So here we see her, at the height of, Valinor, when it's got the two trees and it's just this peaceful, amazing place. During this time, Morgoth would have been captive, most likely. So, or Melkor, as he was known at that time, would have been captive in the halls of Mandos. So yeah, I that's my initial guess. Um, yeah, the hair color. See, that's where you kind of have to look too at the angle that we're working with here. So, those of you who are familiar with photography and have shot into the sun will know it can kind of be deceptive. So I mean, you can kind of look around the edges here, and I could see that being a more golden hair, more blonde hair. But we're seeing it from the shaded side, being on the backside of the light. I almost said the sun, but it's the trees. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see if you guys don't think it's Galadriel, who do you think it would be? Yeah, it's definitely not Gondolin. I can tell you that. Definitely not Gondolin. Could it be a male elf? It could be. Yeah. Like, could it be Feanor or somebody like that? The white, the white costume. I think that's also part of why I immediately thought Galadriel. I feel like her hair is just kind of done up. I mean, you can get really, really grainy. I want to be hitting the enhance button right now. Um, but yeah, I feel like her hair might just be done up or something. I know there's been rumors of short-haired elves. I don't think they would do short-haired Galadriel. That would seem weird because Feanor was all obsessed with his cousin Galadriel's hair, which is a weird thing. Should not be obsessed with your cousin's hair. Note to self. 100% it's Galadriel. I don't know about 100%. I'm going to go with like at least 80-85%. I think it's Tyrion. Torgon modeled Gondolin after it, and the image is reminiscent of Gondolin. Did Galadriel spend time in or even live in Tyrion? So she would not have lived in the city of Tyrion. Is it Valmar? I feel like Valmar? Is that right? City of the Elves? They're all within Valinor. I'm blanking on the name of the city where the elves lived. Let's pull up the map. Okay, so we've got to have a map. If you're familiar with this channel, there's going to be maps involved. All right. Quarantino. Quarantino. My theory is that the first episodes by J.A. Bayona will be prologue episodes. I'm so hyped. I have looked at that picture for over an hour. Nice. Have you framed it yet? Is it on your refrigerator? Thank you so much for your super chat, by the way. And if you haven't yet, please do hit the subscribe button. Weekly videos going over lore, and pretty soon we'll have theories based on Lord of the Rings on Prime. Now that we have a date for this, September 2nd, I'm going to be working on some really fun Lord of the Rings on Prime content for you guys. And yeah, we're going to be all over it here on the channel when that comes out and leading up to it, trailers, everything. Austin Ethel. No, it will not be Austin Ethel. That was actually one of my first thoughts when I saw this, because I didn't see the two trees. I thought this would be Austin Ethel, which is the capital city of Eregion, where Celebrimbor is, who creates the Rings of Power. But the two trees, that's the thing that just kind of really sets this apart, and gives us the biggest clue that this is Tyrion. So yeah, the two trees, it's basically what you would think would be the sun, were it not for these branches. But yeah, definitely The two trees. Trunk. Gosh, I was blanking on the name. The big, thick part of the tree. That is the trunk. So the trunk and the branches of the tree here. What else? Yeah, we've got some nice waterfalls. Reminds me of Rivendell a bit. Ba, 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 ba. Do you think the music will match the movies? So far, I mean, we don't know of any involvement of Howard Shore. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to emulate that music, or do something. Not necessarily emulate it, but definitely. I could definitely see them trying to do something in a similar vein. They're not going to just copy Howard Shore, because whoever takes it on is going to want to put their own imprint on it. But I could see them not wanting to stray too far from what we associate as elven music and dwarven music and stuff like that. How far away from Valinor were the trees visible? Well, they were the source of light for the entire world. So if you count that worldwide, they would be visible. But as far as actually seeing the trees, that's a good question. We don't really, because there's such a delineation of time before and after the two trees are destroyed. So when the two trees are destroyed, that's what kicks off the first age and the exodus of the Noldor from Aman. So let's pull up our Arda map here of the world. Okay. So this area over here is where the two trees would be. I think they're supposed to be up here. I don't think they're actually existing in this picture, maybe, but they'd be over here. So this is Aman. This is the Blessed Realm. And then the two trees would be somewhere over here. And at this time, up until Numenor is destroyed, the world is actually flat, because we know that when Feanor travels and the Noldor kill the Teleri and take their ships, they sail across, and when Feanor gets to Beleriand, he burns the ships. And so then the Noldor who are left behind, including Galadriel and her brothers, they can actually see the ships burning across the ocean here, because there's no curvature of the earth. So they can just see straight across the water. It's flat. So if you think of if the earth was flat, you could see a heck of a lot farther. So yeah, I mean, the trees would be visible from a long distance. I don't know if it ever actually says. Clueless fangirl. It's not Galadriel. The whole thing with the short hair wouldn't make sense. Her hair is such an important factor in the Silmarillion. Yeah, so that's why I kind of feel like, I mean, I don't know. I've never had long hair myself, but I feel like there's something with the colors looks distorted enough that I could see there being like a bun back here or something, or whatever it's called. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not the terminology. My daughter's only 1 year old, so I don't know all the terms yet for women's hairstyle. But I think I would say that's a bun back here, and maybe her hair is done up. Maybe they did it. Maybe they photoshopped her long hair out to throw us off, so we could sit here and debate whether it's Galadriel. They're tricksy. Amazon. All right. I thought there was another super chat here. I want to make sure I hit the super chats. Could it also cover the fall of Arnor, the show? So we know the show takes place in the Second Age. The fall of Arnor takes place in the Third Age. Now, they might have the rights to that, but I would imagine that would probably come, if this show was a great success, then maybe after after the second age has run its course, so this initial run of 5 seasons that they're planning on, I could see maybe after that, they dive into the third age. But I don't think that's part of the initial, run of the show. The cast of the show is available on Google, and who plays who? Really? Okay. I'm gonna Google this. Now we do yeah, so Morfydd Clark, is rumored to play Galadriel. I think that's the only one that we kinda sorta know right now. That lady could be Yavanna. Yeah. Yeah, this could totally throw us off. I'm kind of expecting it someone to play a major role in the show. It could just be one of the Valar. It very well could be. I really like the Galadriel theory, though. I like the Galadriel theory. Could it be Glorfindel? Maybe. Let's see here. I can't remember. Do a quick search here. If Glorfindel. Yeah, he was born during the years of the trees. So you never know. It could be Glorfindel. There's a lot of people it could be. Círdan, that's another one. Varda. Got some good talk going on. Then we have not Glorfindel. The city of Tirion, which is capital of the Noldor and Valinor, of which Gondolin was modeled in memory after, would not be as is shown in the image. Would not be as is shown in the image. Okay. Makes you say that. Said it looks a lot like this image of Ted Naismith's version of Tirion. I think it could be. Like if it does have a very elven feel to it. So you've got some ships here. Now, tell me what you think. That looks like a swan ship to me. I'm feeling like that's a swan ship. Yeah. Which we know is not only in that's not only in Lorien during the Third Age, but it's also they show up in Alqualande right here. That's where Feanor steals the ships and kills a bunch of people. Will Feanor be in the series? Possibly. I think if this is a prologue, maybe we see a glimpse of him. We know that according to the synopsis that came out, it even said that it was in the Second Age. So whatever we see of the First Age, or before, I think it's going to be brief. I think we should kind of be prepared for whatever we see of Valinor to be very brief. Kind of like the best thing I can refer it to, and I think the most appropriate thing, is the prologue of Lord of the Rings, where we see the War of the Last Alliance. So if I had to put money on it, I'm guessing this is part of a prologue. We see it for maybe 10, 15 minutes of that first couple hours of the show. And yeah, I think it's a flashback. I think we're going to get some kind of voiceover setting up the epic battle between good and evil. I'd be really curious to see how much they go into the lore as far as Melkor. And, do you explain that Sauron is the second in command to Melkor and introduce this villain that isn't going to factor into the Second Age? Or is it just Galadriel maybe telling us how good things were before, and then they go through the War of Wrath or something, and destruction of half the world, basically. My bet is we get to see Morgoth and Ungoliant destroy the 2 trees in the prologue. Yes. Sign me up. I'll take that all day long. That's a great point, because if you see the 2 trees, and we know they're not there in the Second Age, then it stands to reason that maybe we see what happens to them. Yeah, I think we're definitely looking at flashback to the First Age, and in this case, even before. The years of the trees come before the First Age, so. Got some more predictions. I like the predictions that sound like I don't know who DNI is, but I sound pretty confident here. I think the first 2 episodes are gonna be released the same day. First ends with the trees destroyed. Second with Morgoth stealing the Silmarils and Feanor leaving. So I would say I'm gonna stick with my prediction that this is gonna all take place within the first 10-15 minutes, this prologue thing, because it's not a show about the First Age. If it was a show about the First Age, then I'd be with you there. I still think it'd probably be condensed more, but we're only getting 8 to 10 episodes, I think, in this first season. So dedicating 2 full episodes, 20% of the show, to stuff that happens a full age before the main part of the show, I don't see them doing that. Dev Thompson, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Be sure to go. You'll have access. Go to the community tab, and you'll have a member exclusive post, so you can join the Patreon, or not the Patreon. Sorry, the Discord, Nerd of the Rings Discord. Got a lot of cool chat. We've been chatting in there this afternoon about this image. Had a lot of ideas thrown around. So be sure to join the Discord if you're a member, or if you support on Patreon. Is the series canon? Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends. Like, it's not a new book, obviously. I mean, if you consider the Peter Jackson films canon, then yeah. It's an adaptation of the books. It's not like Star Wars, where they started with movies, and the additional movies are canon, and some books are canon and some aren't, that kind of thing. The original canon is Tolkien's works, and then everything else is adaptations of that. For some reason, thought of Maeglin, but then again, I don't know why. Yeah, Maeglin would have come in during the First Age. Probably because, maybe it was because you saw this as Gondolin, which wouldn't be a bad guess either. If it wasn't for the 2 trees, Gondolin would be a good one, because it's surrounded mostly by mountains, it looks like. Even beyond here, there's mountains. Yeah, gosh, I would love to see Fall of Gondolin adapted. I would love to see all of Tolkien adapted, basically, is what it comes down to. There's nothing of Tolkien that I wouldn't want to see adapted. Mr. Green, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. I am hyped, guys. I thought I was going to end up doing a big live stream for 300,000 subscribers, but we're a little early. That's okay. We're at 296. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, because we're going to be talking about Lord of the Rings on Prime a lot as it comes out. Thought we had some more Galadriel. Boom. All right. Great question. Why is Galadriel even in it? I don't remember her having much of a role in the Second Age. Well, you should remember better, Darth Hylian. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm giddy with excitement here. Yeah, so Galadriel does, she is around during the Second Age. She's around during the First Age, Second Age, Third Age, all the ages. So in the Second Age, you probably don't remember much of Galadriel because she's just kind of mentioned here and there, mostly in Unfinished Tales. So if you have a copy of Unfinished Tales, check that out. There's an entire chapter that's the story of Galadriel and Celeborn, and that even has some dialogue between Galadriel and Gandalf when they're talking about the Elisar, which is a stone, or which is like a stone made in the shape of a green gemstone with a bird, eagle. It's basically a sign of Aragorn's kingship and his betrothal to Arwen. And yeah, it basically, it was in the movies, it was replaced with the necklace that Arwen gives to Aragorn. So they kind of took some creative license with that. But yeah, so check out Unfinished Tales. That's a good one to look into Galadriel during the Second Age. Also, my video here on the channel, I have a complete travels of Galadriel that goes from birth all the way to her sailing into the West in the Third Age. It's a big, long, epic video, goes over her entire life. But some of the highlights, she moves to Lake Nanuiel, which is north of where the Shire would one day be. She lives there for a time. And then she moves to Eregion for a time, which is where Celebrimbor creates the Rings of Power and where Sauron would eventually come disguised as Anatar to instruct Celebrimbor on creating the Rings of Power. And then after that, before the fall of Eregion, she moves to the really long name for it was like Lorelin, I believe, but it's what becomes Lorien. So yeah, they move around a lot. And then eventually, so Celebrimbor stays behind in Eregion. He helps fight against Sauron. Galadriel and their daughter Celebrian are in. Well, what am I doing? I should have the map out for this. My bad, guys. Okay, here we go. All right. So, yes, they live in Austin Ethel for a while. And then Celeborn stays behind in Austin Ethel. And Celebrian and her mom Galadriel come live in Lorinand. And eventually they would meet up right around here, reunite once again. And this is where Rivendell is founded, where Elrond creates Rivendell. And that is where Galadriel's daughter, Celebrian, and Elrond meet and fall in love. And Celebrian is the mother of Arwen. So there you go. All right. Hopefully we can see Morgoth Melkornus. That would be cool. Ooh, this is an interesting comment. Why does a city in Valinor have defensive walls? Could this be a Second Age city with someone visualizing, remembering the trees? All right, let's go back to our picture. I got to look at it. Oh, not bad. That's some pretty good theorizing right there. That's a good question. Maybe, I mean, it could be out of fear of Morgoth that they would build their cities with defensive walls. But I do like the idea, like, if this is someone remembering the trees, like, say it's Galadriel or something outside of a city, and we're actually seeing not like a vision necessarily, but just a creative way of doing a flashback. Like, this takes us into the flashback. I think the safe money is on this being Tyrion, but I mean, it's a cool theory. Definitely. Austin Ethel would have a defensive wall. Yeah. Weren't walls put up after the Morgoth-Ungoliant catastrophe? Well, so the Morgoth-Ungoliant catastrophe would have happened with the 2 trees being destroyed. Valmar has a gate. You know, I think you're right. That does ring a bell. Hold on a second. Doors of polished bronze. I'm looking up online here. Yeah, Valmar. It could be Valmar. That's another option. So here's Valmar. Here's Tyrion. And the 2 trees, I believe, are somewhere around here. I believe that's right. Let me consult my resources here. I have another map that has the 2 trees. Yes. Okay. So the 2 trees are actually right here, not far from Valmar. Right around here. So yeah, this totally could be Valmar. There's no way they will show Valinor. I don't know, man. I feel like this image looks a lot like Valinor. 2 trees at the western gate of Valmar. And it's in all caps. Sorry, I should have read it more emphatically. Yes, it is to the west. It is to the west. Let's see here. See if I can pull this over. There we go. Yep. Okay. So we're officially changing. So Tyrion's pretty far away. I mean, there is definitely some distance in this image. But I think we've got to say that's Valmar. I stand corrected. So people at the beginning of the stream can call me an idiot. I was wrong. It's not Tyrion. It's Valmar. You get these cities. It's a lot of cities, you know? What was the island called that Sauron made into Tolin Galroth? It was Tol Sirion. Tol Sirion. With the fortress of Minas Tirith. The first Minas Tirith. Noob. Yep, I'll wear it. Okay, so Captain Blackbird, you get credit. Yes, gold star for you. You said Valmar at the beginning of the stream. There's a lot of comments here. I'm trying to keep up. There's 1,400 people here. This might be the most I've ever had for a stream. All right, so now you've seen an image from Lord of the Rings on Prime. More excited, less excited, same level of excitement. That's your 3 options. Let me know in the chat. I want to know. More excited, less excited, or equally excited? Tell me in the chat right now. And that'll also tell YouTube like, hey, this stream's rocking. More. Oh yeah, we're getting a lot of more excited. If you're less, I'm curious to hear why this would make you less excited. Does Valmar have mountains nearby? That is a great point. Oh man, are we going to go back to Tyrion? Are we gonna just keep changing our minds back and forth? Because Tyrion does have mountains on both sides. Oh, so was I right and then wrong and then right again? Is that what we're going with? Oh, it could be Tyrion. I feel like it might be Tyrion. Team Tyrion. Yep, I'm going back. I jumped ship for a little bit, but I'm going back. Yes, no mountains. See, this is awesome. I love this. See, my natural instinct would have been like, okay, I've got to research the heck out of this before I jump on a stream. But this is much more fun to discover this together. If it's Tyrion, Teniquetil is in those mountains on the left side. Oh, yeah. Teniquetil is pretty awesome. Channel's going to blow up? I hope so. That'd be awesome. Got more people subscribing? If people are hitting that subscribe, it's going to help for sure. So be sure to hit that subscribe. There's 1,500 people here. I'm guessing you're not all subscribed to the channel yet, but there's going to be tons of Lord of the Rings stuff. We talk about it every single week here on the channel. I do animated maps, all kinds of lore. If you like maps and you like Tolkien, it's a no-brainer. Hit subscribe. Valmar nor the trees have mountains nearby. Yes. Yeah, so I think, I mean, this is in the distance. Like, I think the mountains are like more close, and then it gets to maybe a hilly region. It's hard to tell because, like, you know, I don't think the two trees are probably the size of actual trees, which might make them seem closer in this image than they actually are, if that makes sense. One of those perspective type things. So, like, here you might think, like, oh, they're just on the other side of that lake, but maybe they're, like, really big and they're farther. I don't know. Might be grasping at straws at this point. Team Tyrion. Dilly303. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much for doing this stream. Love getting hyped with you. Love the channel. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Those are not hills. Oh. No, there's definitely, I mean, the foreground is certainly mountains. These are definitely mountains. I mean, let's be honest. If the worst change that they make is adding some small mountains where there might not be mountains, I can live with that. I'm subscribed already, but I want to do it again. I love it. Your vids are legit the best of any Tolkien tuber. Thanks so much, Carter. That is some high praise. Yes. Remember, Arda is flat at this time. Reminds Greg Bugatti reminds us, so you can see farther. Farther? I don't know. Yeah, sorry for all the academics out there. I said it both ways, so I'm right and wrong. Fatty Lumpkin should make an appearance. The algorithm got you here. Thanks, algorithm. Let's see here. Got it. Oh, where is... I had a super chat here. Shout out to Jake, the trouser snake. Oh my gosh. You ever get to that part where you read out like a username or a comment and you halfway through think like, should I be saying this out loud? Sorry, we had a super chat. I feel like I might have missed a super chat. Here we go. Okay. I believe the trees are there for cool effect, like a poster showing two scenes. They probably appear in a flashback. This is an arrival to Austin Ethel. That is not a bad theory. I like that theory. Yeah, that's kind of what we said before. And thanks, Rory, for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, yeah, I could see that, or the idea that this is the start of a vision or flashback or something, and the camera like zooms in on this, and we go to a flashback or something. And I wouldn't be surprised if Austin Ethel looks similar to this. A lot of throughout Tolkien's works, a lot of the cities are modeled off of cities that came before it. Like, so the woodland realm that we saw in The Hobbit with Thranduil, that's modeled off of, in the books, that's modeled off of Doriath, which comes in the first age. Um, and yeah, and Gondolin is modeled after Valmar in Valinor. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Like we said, this has a very what we have come to think of as an elvish look, and that might just be a Valinor look that has been used to model the elves have used over the years because that's where they came from, where they lived for a long time, I should say. Sorry, we had another super chat here. What will the show be called? Not just Lord of the Rings on Prime, right? And thank you, Ryan, for your super chat. Yeah, I don't think Lord of the Rings on Prime is the final title of this show. So far, my best guess is the Lord of the Rings, the Second Age. That's what I'm predicting. I don't think they'll pass up the opportunity to use the Lord of the Rings in the title because it's so well known, so popular from the films. Yeah, I don't think they'll pass up that opportunity. Divine Chareka. Are we going to see the two blue wizards? I hope so. I think that would be really cool if we did. Yeah, we definitely could. In Tolkien's later writings, they show up in 1600 of the Second Age. And they travel over here to the east to Rune, where we know the Easterlings come from. So yeah, they show up here at the Grey Havens, and then they migrate over here. They show up at 1600 of the Second Age. It's the same time that Glorfindel shows up in Middle Earth. So we very well could see them. Lady of Athelion, thank you so much for the super chat. Found this channel last year. Absolutely love it. I hope it blows up. Very well deserved. Thank you so much. I'll be honest. It feels like, yeah, I'm at 296,000 right now. For me, that feels pretty blown up at the moment. I know that there's plenty of channels out there way bigger than me, but I am super grateful to all of you who have subscribed and watched my content over the past, I guess, year and a half that I've been doing this. Yeah, I'm just super appreciative of everybody who's supported the channel in every way, watching it, subscribing, Patreon supporters. Shout out to my Patreon supporters. You hear their names at the end of every video. They're part of what makes this channel happen. I say that at the end of every video. I truly mean it. In the early days of this channel, I've told this story before, but in the early days of this channel, I almost stopped doing it because I didn't think I was making enough progress and was wondering if it was worth going forward. And that's around the same time that I got my first Patreon supporter. So yeah, those first couple months, I got a few Patreon supporters. They really encouraged me. So I will always be hugely appreciative to my Patreon supporters. Isn't that Gondor? No. I think we can safely say that is not Gondor. There is some similarity, like as far as where the structures are. Like you have the main building here and then some other secondary building. So that kind of reminds you maybe of the Houses of the Dead. Or not Houses of the Dead, but where they bury the kings and stewards. But no, I think Two Trees definitely rules that out for sure. Let's see here. They could also incorporate Middle Earth into the title. They could. I think Lord of the Rings is a more popular name, though. I think that'll win out. Someone from Amazon, please drop a hint. Says Angelo. Thank you so much for the super chat, Angelo. Yeah, if you work at Amazon, blink twice and drop us a hint. And now I'm gonna have a bunch of people in the comments like putting 2 wink emojis and just saying random stuff. We'll never know. All right. So let's say we've had some debate going back and forth here on who this character is. So everyone in the chat, let's do this. Tell me who you think the character is. I want to get a barometer reading here of who we think it is. So is it Galadriel? Is it one of the Valar? Is it... Who else do we think? I'm trying to think of some of the other predictions that we've had today. Myron. Ooh. That's an interesting thought that this could be Sauron in a fair form before he becomes evil. That's interesting. Huh. Rory, thank you so much for the super chat. Look at the ruins the Fellowship passes trying to bypass Moria. Valinor won't be a main location, so they wouldn't put it in the first teaser image. Yeah, definitely. I think, let's see here. See if I can pull up the image of Austin Ethel. Here we go. I got you guys covered. All right. Boom. Here you go. Not very high resolution. So yeah, this is the ruins that the Fellowship passes. So if you watch your copy of Fellowship of the Ring, it is during the montage as the ring goes south, which I believe is also the chapter title of that scene. I think that's the scene title. Yeah, so this is Austin Ethel. So I think what Rory here is saying is, you know, these are kind of similar to that. I mean, I can see it. Like we said before, I think if this is part of a separate scene, if this is some kind of composition or like some storytelling device that incorporates a flashback or a transition of some kind to a flashback, I could see that. It's just the 2 trees puts such a definite time stamp on when this would take place if this is all together. Shelob, you think you think this is Shelob? Somebody's been playing too much Shadow of Mordor, I think. I remember in 2020, way back in 2020, when you started your channel, 1,000 subscribers, giveaway were Lord of the Rings stickers. Good times. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come up with a bigger giveaway. Whenever I hit 500,000, I'm gonna have a big giveaway. I feel like that's gonna be a party type atmosphere. All right. Oh, we got another super chat. P. Carvajal. Thank you so much. $10 super chat. I just got done watching a few of your travels videos and on my way to watch the films again. I see this live just now. Here's to this new series not being a mess. That's a great goal, right? That's what you hope for. Try not to suck. It's a good goal. Sauron looks like an angel. That Sauron theory's taken hold. This could be a fair form of Sauron. That would be interesting. Yoist. Yes. I think it's Yoistin from Men of the West. This is his this is part of his reveal. One day he'll reveal his face. Right now he's just showing us his back. Ilmarin. Galadriel intros Lord of the Rings. It would be great if she intros this new series. I agree. I think I think that's a strong possibility. And I was tweeting with the Tolkien professor, Corey Olson. He put forth the theory that this could be Erendil, Elrond's father, because he goes to Tirion to plead with the Valar. But then again, it goes back to the two trees. The two trees wouldn't be there during that time. But I did mention to Corey that if we're gonna see a prologue that has a kind of a summary of everything that happens in the first age, it could be a real, like, for for a crude example, it could be like a real hold my beer type moment for this show. Like, that would be going really big. Like saying, you love the Lord of the Rings prologue? We're going to show you the first age over the course of 10 to 15 minutes. That would be ambitious, and I would absolutely eat it up. Jordan Bachman says, if I pay you money, will it come out sooner? No. You'd have better luck with Amazon. I don't control if the show comes out any sooner. I don't think that they'll do it for you either, though. I don't know. Maybe if you order enough stuff with Prime shipping. Maybe. Plot twist. It's you. Oh. That would be news to me as well. Finrod. That's a good guess. I would be down for seeing Finrod. That's the only way we'd see Finrod would be if it's in a flashback. Because spoiler alert, Finrod dies in the first age. So if you didn't know that, you haven't seen my Finrod video, I guess. But all right. I can't help but see director Krennic from Rogue One. Yeah, with like the short cloak thing, or the white cloak. Yeah. Thranduil's wife. We don't even know who that is, so I doubt that that's who that is. Princess Leia. We're getting a lot of Star Wars thoughts. All right, this is a good one. Let's talk about this for a second. Brendan Krause. What first age info do you think is essential to understand the second age? We only got the last alliance and the forging of the rings in the movies, and that was enough. Yeah, so I think this is a really good question. I think a lot of it depends on when this show takes place in the second age. If we're picking up with the very beginning of the second age, so, Numenor's is a new kingdom, stuff like that, then we kind of have to understand what happened in the first age, at least that there was Morgoth and Sauron, and they were the bad guys of Beleriand, and there was a giant war, and Beleriand is destroyed. So this cataclysmic event where an entire continent basically falls into the sea. Yeah, I could see this prologue, so to speak, showing us Numenor raising out of the sea, being a gift to the men, to the Edain. I mean, obviously, the two trees thing, I honestly did not expect us to see stuff this far back, the two trees. That really surprised me when I saw this. I think I don't think it'll go into great detail on the 2 trees, like, I don't even know like, we're probably not gonna learn about, like, the lamps, the 2 lamps that came before it, stuff like that. If I had to guess, it would just be, like, a passing mention, like, the 2 trees which gave light to the entire world, um, were destroyed and show, like, Morgoth and Ungoliant destroying it, and just kind of like, maybe we get, like, a laundry list with some highlights of, all the terrible things that Morgoth did. Just basically painting the picture like there was this guy, Morgoth, and he just made everything terrible. He's Satan, basically. And then just setting it up to where it's like, you know, Morgoth was defeated, but there's still this other guy, this Sauron guy. He's out there. He's going to be causing some trouble. All right. Okay, so we'll wrap this up here pretty soon. Maybe we'll go for like another 5 minutes. If you guys have questions, yeah, someone did say it was Yoyston. Maybe the trees, this is a really good one. I like this theory. Maybe the trees represent a vision of the Noldors longing to return to Valinor, maybe looking west down the Glenduin, the Enduin, probably the Enduin. Yeah, that could be. Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see this being, like I said, not an exact, not like this image isn't, like an exact snapshot of like, it's not a true still image. Like, this could be, like I said, a composition of 2 things or, like, some kind of vision or a flashback or something like that. Um, late as usual, pirate scum. Dev Thompson, Fellowship of Fans tweeted leaks of yet unannounced big names / familiar characters. I doubt it'll be Ian McKellen unless narrating, but Lee Pace return maybe? Maybe. That would be kind of cool, actually, if Thranduil turned up, I guess. But he very early on travels to his home in Mirkwood. So, they kind of all the elves of the Second Age, Balerion gets absolutely decimated, and they kind of all migrate to Lindon over here, this area. Right up here. Numenor gets raised out of the sea, given to men. The elves kind of migrate here for a little bit. Galadriel goes up to Lake Nanuiel, then to Austin Ethel. But fairly early on, we're told there's also a complete travels of Thranduil video on my channel, if you're interested. Pretty early on, he goes over here with his father, Orofair, and it's down here at the time. At that time, it's down here. What becomes Dol Guldur is actually their first capital in Mirkwood. So yeah, I don't know. Like he doesn't really come into the story, but it could be one of those creative license things that they decide to take. All right. Are the 2 trees visible from Middle Earth? It's possibly like they give light to we kind of covered this already, but they give light to the whole world. So it could be, but nothing much is happening, especially given what we know about the show being in the Second Age. I don't see this being across the ocean, because none of our main characters from the Second Age are going to be in Middle Earth before the 2 trees are destroyed. They wouldn't tease. Rory's doubling down on this. They wouldn't tease a flashback setting in their first teaser image. I disagree. I think they totally would, because they know showing those trees will send all the Tolkien fans into a tizzy, and they're thinking, "Holy cow, it's the 2 trees." Just like we're doing now. I hopped on here thinking, I'm going to talk for maybe like 20 minutes about this image, and now it's an hour and 5 minutes later. No, it's all good, man. Rory, it's all good. Thanks for being a member too, Rory. I appreciate your thoughts. So it's New Zealand. Solved. We got it. Figured it out, guys. We're good. Could be Eru Iluvatar disguised as an elf. Maybe, but I don't think Eru is ever gonna like enter the story. Like he's never inserts himself into the story. He's there at the beginning. In the beginning, very like godlike, create the world, and then, you know, just kind of let things play out. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna be Eru. But that's just my thought. Land Strider, one of the best channels. Thanks, man. I assume you're talking about my channel, since that's where we are right now. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up here. I've been trying. I successfully squeezed in a live stream in between kids and stuff. So my house is probably gonna get pretty loud here soon. Lady of Athelium became a member. Thank you so much. Is that Smile Gway in the background? Nope, that's the two trees. All right. Thank you so much again. If you're interested, patreon.com/nerdoftherings is where you can become a Patreon supporter. We've got different tiers there with different perks. The biggest one, if you join either here on YouTube or on Patreon, you get access to my Discord server where we have a lot of fun chat. We have a book club. We're currently in the first chapter, almost second chapter of Fellowship of the Ring right now. We're reading through all of Tolkien's works. So we're going to be together for a long time talking about this stuff. If you haven't already, please, please, please hit the subscribe button. That really does help. That tells YouTube people like this channel. We should recommend it to more people. Hit the like button on this video. That also tells people like this video and this channel. All those things are very, very helpful with YouTube's algorithm wizardry stuff. Notorious Chill, thank you so much for becoming a member. Oh, and Proctor Depper 42, thank you so much. Yeah, so all those things help. If you subscribe, like, share, all that stuff is awesome. Yeah, so now you have a new background image for your computer and something more to look through and dissect and try to savor for the next 13 months until the show comes out. It's so long. That's so far away. Oh my gosh. But yeah, well, I'm sure we'll get more images peppered throughout time. And trailers. Man, when they have a trailer, we're gonna be breaking it down. It might be a 3-hour show to break down a trailer. This is just one image. We went an hour. So yeah, we'll see you guys around. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Nerd of the Rings.